My name is Abioduni, also known Martin. My company is D&E Raps.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we're gonna have some fun, y'all, because this is Graham Fam. This is my friend from Grambling who is getting interviews. He's traveling throughout the country. For all I know, he might be traveling around the world with his business. He's wrapping everything from ships to cars to billboards. I mean, every time I just check in, he's doing something grandiose, based right now in Atlanta, but Bay Area, San Francisco, to be more specific. Again, I said Grambling, that's the Harvard of the South, if y'all don't know. Abs, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Hey man, I'm doing quite well, man. I appreciate that introduction, man. That was grand, man. I definitely appreciate it. I'm very humbled, man, because I don't feel that way.
Well, you know, I could have went on. I could have went on, but then I might have said too much, and I'm not trying to give them all the juice. They gotta, yeah. I can't do that to you. Like man, that was 15 years ago.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But it's always good, and you have always been a positive, always doing something from when I met you with, when you were doing the music, pushing the artist and just pushing, the label. But I want you to let people know about your company and, give them a little story about how you started it.
All right. Well, D&E Raps is it's a sign and advertising, physical advertising business. We primarily focus on installation of anything from billboards to fleet vehicle wrapping, commercial buildings. We do anything from vinyling to commercial installation of standoffs. You name it, we do it. If it sticks, we can wrap it. If you have a sign that needs to be put up on your building, business wise, we install it. We do all that from start to finish, from design, print to installation. We focus with me and my partners. That's what our grand focus is all about. So if that's anything that you need, and we travel all over the world, like Kellen just described. I've been to places like Rome, Italy, you name it. I've been Morocco. I've been everywhere with this business. Contracts with Royal Caribbean, the Carnival, has afforded me to travel. I call it a paycation. It's all on the company's dime. So it's been a great experience for me in my 7 years of being in business. It's taken me places that I never thought I would go. And I definitely enjoy that. And for me now, what I'm trying to accomplish is to share that experience with new up and comers that want to get into this industry and learn about it and move forward in that direction.
Man, that's a beautiful thing. And, for the 14 or 44-year-old who's listening says, okay, sounds good. Okay, I heard he went to school. That wasn't, I didn't get to go to school, or I chose not to go, but it might sound like everything is just sweet because they're meeting you now. But right from the beginning, I mean, you aren't even born in this country, Niger, Super Eagle, Nigerian, Benin, stand up.
Yes,
and you were actually adopted, and then, and you were here coming up in San Francisco in the 80s, where, the times were no joke.
Right.
How much of that drives you? Because you didn't have to even be here. So it's almost like, man, it was it could be a blessing, or you could be like, maybe I could have been king of, Zamunda in Nigeria. I mean, based on the family and what happened. But how much of that experience, was that a rough experience for you, or was that something where you're like, nah, we needed to get out because there was some real issues going on at home and we were just blessed to get out?
Okay, so let me bring you back a little bit as far as my past and how that came about. So my mother's from Benin, my father's from Nigeria. They both met here in the United States at the College of San Francisco State. Okay, I was born around that time, so I was born in 1981. Okay, so I'm telling my age here. I was born in 1981, and my parents, I don't have a remembrance of them. I just know that I was there in Nigeria at the time, and for whatever reason, we had to come back. Me and my two other siblings were born here in the United States. I don't know the full story because at that time I never met them. I never knew, at 6 years old, I mean, I only know so much, from whatever trauma that I've been through. That's all I remember from my childhood. I know bits and pieces. It comes like dreams when I sleep at night of my parents and so on and so forth. And um, moving to San Francisco, living in San Francisco for me, my parents had some drama in their lives. Now that I get, if you move to the future, I've met a couple of uncles and so on and so forth, and they tell me, well, your dad used to beat your mother and all this other stuff, blase blase. And it makes sense now because they wasn't United States citizens. They didn't have green cards or anything like that. They were just going to school, and for whatever reason, that drama where I was taken and my two siblings were taken from my parents, where we couldn't live with them moving forward in our lives. So I'm actually in the process of writing a book called the Last Slave of America. And I named that book that way because I was stripped of my culture. I was stripped of my language. I was stripped of everything that a slave coming over here was stripped of 400 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
and I'm telling my story in depth as far as how that all correlates with the times of slavery. And it's a trip because I feel, even though I don't have that direct connection, however, I was raised and adopted by a family that have ancestry of slaves. I don't come from that lineage. I don't know anything about that. I don't have ancestry, so to say, of that lineage, like my adopted parents have. So I grew up with the same mind state, okay? And because of my experience, I'm first generation, American, Nigerian American, So having that dynamic and being stripped because I grew up in San Francisco and I was put in special education. Not that I had a learning disability or anything of that nature. It was the simple fact that I didn't speak the same language as everybody else. Like, when they put Asians in school and they put them in certain classes called ESL, where they English as a second language. I didn't have that opportunity. It was, hey, go to special education because of whatever reason, and this is the thing they do with a lot of young Black boys. So I grew up in that system, being marginalized, and I grew up in the Western Addition being marginalized. The Western Addition, if nobody know that, in San Francisco, it's called the Fillmore. Fillmore has a rich culture, but growing up in the 80s, that was the hood. That was the hood. But if anybody knows the history of San Francisco and the Fillmore district in particular, the Fillmore district in particular was known as the Harlem of the West. Okay, a lot of big jazz influence, a lot of blues influence. That movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, when he talks about the Boom Boom Room, it's an actual club, a blues club called the Boom Boom Room, right in the Fillmore, and most people don't know that. And so when you talk about San Francisco and you talk about the dynamics and the geographical location of where I was raised at, worldwide, it's a known place. And so growing up and having that rich history in that melting pot, I grew up with so many different cultures in that. I didn't have a culture of my own, so to say. So that's why I relate my experience to the slaves of 400 years ago, because I felt it firsthand on that count. Not ever knowing my parents being taken away, growing up and growing up in this special education, and growing up in San Francisco, predominantly in a rough neighborhood, and so on and so forth. So my perspective on all of that, coming up and being able to go to college and do those and have that experience, kept me in a humbled light, because I come from those rough trenches, and most people that look at me say, you talk so well, you didn't come from anything, you didn't come from any hardships, and so on and so forth. And for those that know, don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Chinese proverb, right? And that's the whole thing. I don't express myself in that manner. I just keep it moving. I keep doing things and making my works talk for me, until people get to know me, like we're doing here. Then you realize, wow, this is a real deep guy right here. Come from things, and speaking on royalty, as you touched upon. I did find out that I do come from a lineage of royalty from my African family. God rest his soul. My father, my real father, I didn't get a chance to meet him. However, my younger sister, actually went to Nigeria and Africa to meet him before he had passed, and got a lot of game from her as far as what he told me. Mind you, I'm his only son and the eldest child. And so his lineage, he's comes from a lineage of royalty. However, that was stripped from him because of somehow in his village, or whatever the case may be. His mother was the chief's daughter, or whatever the case may be, and he wasn't able to get the access for whatever reason. I don't know the in-depth story. They won't tell me until I actually go there, because certain information, there's a role where with Nigerians in particular, in Africa, you only tell things to the eldest child, which is a boy, and that's the only, everything is always passed down to the boy. And me being the eldest child and the only son, I have to gain that information by me physically going there. There's no phone conversation and stuff like that. So things of that nature, and that's where I'm at right now, is making that transition, to go there to gain that information and know more about my history and my family lineage, and so on and so forth. So I know people always say, well, everybody that comes from Africa is from royalty, and so on and so forth. You could say that, but only so many people can prove that, right? So,
Yeah.
the main thing is that, I don't rely on that. I don't tell many people that, and so on and so forth. But it's to know that I have a direct lineage, where my counterparts here in America and elsewhere don't have that. And sometimes I'm saddened by the fact that, hey, you guys do have a lineage, y'all do have a history, you know what I'm saying? And all you have to do is basically trace yourself and your ancestry back to those times of slavery, to find out what lineage you come from. You could pick any place in Africa and say, this is my home, because in actuality it is, you know what I'm saying? And so even having that sense of pride, which I always have, and I was grateful to be able to keep my name, my African name, because most people don't know that your name identifies you in what village you come from and what language you speak. Your name is part of the language. It's coded in the names. And so that's why it's very important on how you name your children as African Americans, on how you name your children, because that identifies you in the world. I don't know if we're probably the only ones in the world as Africans that identifies our names with our culture. Like, they know when I say my name that I'm of Yoruba descent. They know that, hey, by my last name, Oshnoo, they know that what family lineage I come from. Any African I speak to, they know this. You know,
Mhm.
Americans can't identify. You know, and that was the differences that I gained because I lived two different worlds. You know, in that aspect. So I hope I was able to answer your question in that regard.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because right now, I got the custom made from wearghana.com, and they put my logo on it, African shirt. My love for Africa for the longest, but now Africa is, to the masses. Oh, Africa. Like, and when I say the masses, I'm going to talk specifically on Black Americans, because
Right.
white folks and Chinese been going.
Oh, bingo. Bingo.
Yeah. But now that it's cool, but you remember, Boys in the Hood. I'm not from Africa. You actually had to like go through that with your name. So were you always, proud or fighting or trying to prove that, look, I'm an African, I'm a Nigerian, but I'm also living in this American dream or nightmare, depending on how you see it. So, yeah.
You know what? I had mixed feelings, man, because I was called the African booty scratcher. I was called all that growing up in school, but I always took pride in my name. I don't know where that came from. I always took pride in my name. When I had the opportunity, when I was adopted, to change my name, I didn't know what to call myself. Well, I was gonna call myself John, Billy, Bob, whoever. My name is my name, and I never changed it. All I did was added the Martin, which was my adopted parent last name. Other than that, I kept all my names. And I remember one time, I always had to fight in school about my name, and people pronouncing it right, even with teachers, before they even say my name, when they came, they had a long pause. I knew that was me. I was like, hey, this is how you pronounce my name. Before you fuck it up, you know what I mean? And this is from little. I don't know where I got that pride from, you know what I'm saying? But I always corrected people before they fucked up my name. This is how you say my name. And I would tell them, hey, please repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to say my name right. You know what I mean? Don't call me something. And they always try to give me a nickname. Can I give you a nickname? No, don't give me no nickname. If I ain't give you a nickname, don't call me something other than I'm not Toby. You know what I'm saying? In that regard. So I always had a pride of my name, even though I didn't know my culture. I didn't grow up in my culture, so to say. I had 6 years of that, but I don't have a remembrance of that. You know what I'm saying? So that pride always stuck with me. And to this day, if I don't give you a notion to call me Abs or by my American family nickname Dooney, then don't call me anything other. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to.
And let me be clear why, because people say, well, Kellen, he called you Abs. When I call everybody from everybody on the yard had a nickname.
Right.
I still to this day, when I holler at Sibo, I say Sibo. And I say, see, people know, hey, Dub from your Rancho Cucamonga, Dub. Like, I call everybody by their yard name still to this day, and vice versa, But again, you got to have permission, folks. So and you got to. It depends how you met that person, where you met them. Right. Now, Nigerians, most educated people in this country, maybe even in the world, as far as degrees. Correct. In this country, you don't meet a Nigerian who doesn't have some type of side business. I don't care if they're a doctor. Yeah. It's just in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Talk about the pressure of that, though, because there's pressure with that.
Okay. And that's funny that you say that, because I didn't experience the pressure because, like I said, I didn't grow up per se in the culture. Like, mind you, I'm adopted. I never met my parents in reality of growing up in the culture, so to say. I had a moment, in that, but I'm American to the bloodline at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, my game is American, but my spirit is Africa. You know what I'm saying? My spirit and what's in, it's like when an animal is born, you still have that ambition, that to get up and automatically walk. You know what I'm saying? That's what animals in the wild are able to do when they come out the womb. So I have that essence of whatever that is, being of that lineage, being of that spirit, you know. So I take on all the aspirations of an African, of a Nigerian that first comes to America and have all this ambition to succeed and educate and so on. So I didn't grow up. I didn't have the pressures. All my adopted mother told me was, hey, graduate from high school. College wasn't the next step. You know, it wasn't the next step for anybody. I'm the first generation in their family and that family to go to college and graduate, you know.
Mm.
So I'm the first generation to go to college and graduate. All my peoples that I was raised by in California, in San Francisco, and that family were hustlers. You know what I'm saying? Pimps and
Mm-hmm.
hustlers. You know, they come from the game. You know what I mean? So I was in the crack epidemic and all of that. That was part of the everyday living. You know what I'm saying? That's all I seen all around me. You know, so coming up, like, if you ever read that book in elementary, junior, and junior high school, I don't know if you ever heard of it. It was called The House That Crack Built. You ever heard of that book?
I have not.
Okay, it's a kid's book. It's called The House That Crack Built. Yeah, and that's where my experience is. I grew up in the house that crack built. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody have heard of that book, know about it, get it. It's a children's book, ironically. You know, and it was back in the 80s, early 90s. That's when that book came out. It's called The House That Crack Built. I forgot The House That Crack Built. I forgot the author of that book, but it's a children's book. Take a look at it. But
Clark Taylor.
you found it.
Yeah, Clark Taylor.
Clark Taylor. So great book, and it reminded me. I took a liking to that, not because of what it expressed and everything, but that was my life. That's how I grew up. Like, you know, I didn't have to live in the streets to experience what I experienced growing up. You kind of get what I'm saying? So back to your question, the pressures wasn't never there. I put that pressure upon me, you know, to succeed. I had the innate ability to recognize my abilities to want more out of life. You know what I'm saying? Want more for myself. So I proceeded when nobody ever gave me a chance to get out of special ed. When I got into high school, I took myself out of special ed. I tested out. Man, I was a bookie, man. When I say a bookie, I was studious. You know, I tried my best to be the smartest that I can be to achieve my goals and do what I needed to do. And by the time I hit ninth grade, I tested out of special ed and put myself into regular education, where the teachers wasn't giving me those opportunities. They wanted to keep me back, you know. So I took myself out. And when I had the opportunity to go to college, nobody thought I would go to college. I used to play football. And my coach told me, you're not gonna make it to any college. If you make it to college, I'm gonna pay for your first year of books. I proved him wrong, and he paid for my first year of books. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had people that always doubted me, you know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
always bet on myself and I always won. So it always gave me the inspiration and the it always gave me the inspiration to move forward and achieve the things that I wanted to do. I didn't let nobody deter me, because you talk about as kids, man, you grow up in these environments, you're destined to be nothing. You know, if you're lucky, if you make it past 19, 23 years old, you know what I'm saying? You're lucky. You know what I mean? And so I overcome all the odds, all the things that were against me. I overcame those things, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still working on some things. I'm still moving, but I'm built for this, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just in my blood. When normal people would just give up, you know, I don't have that in me to do that. It's not a bone in my body that says give up, you know. And I'm always optimistic. I'm always, you know, able to just move past the BS, you know. And so when I got my college degree, that was another, you know, stamp on me, you know. And you know, I took it as it's a goal. I passed, it's done. Boom, moving on. Like, I don't put any weight on that. Like, all the achievements that I've done or gained in my life, I don't put any weight on that. I was like, okay, what else I need to do to accomplish? I need to do something else. You know what I'm saying? I need to go to the next level. Like, I'm always going to the next level, not thinking about giving myself any pat on the back for the accolades of the things that I achieve. And when people like yourself talk about me, I'll be like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I did a lot, you know what I'm saying, in my young years, you know what I mean?
How do you build that faith muscle? I want somebody like who is struggling right now, no matter what the age, and they're listening, saying, "Man, that sounds good, but man, I don't have nothing. I'm down to my last, $2. Don't speak at 10." Talk about that, because I know we can laugh all day about how being in Graham and more than half the school is waiting in line with a fee sheet, because everybody is somebody with a fee sheet. And then right after you deal with the fee sheet, the savvy are trying to run over like, hey, did I get my housing so I can start paying, I don't have to pay this high rent. And then you find a little lady who, hey, you got these books, I'm gonna meet you at 11 because that's when we're gonna study for an hour or so, 11 p.m. folks. I'm gonna let you guys figure why we choose those times. But I'm talk about like that, building up that faith muscle and what it feels like once you hit, you got your high school, then college degree, and just those other things you've been able to do.
Man, that's a great question, and only way I can answer this. I'm not a religious man per se. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in God. Who else could have built this grand universe? Something had to create it. It's a creator out there. Whatever we like to describe it as, there is a creator. And we're not just here out of nothing. And I feel in my heart of hearts, and I always had it. I always had it in me, that if you are a religious person and you believe in your God, and if you believe in your God, you have the same abilities. He gave you those abilities as how he sees you. I'm not going to quote any biblical quotes or anything like that, but I always felt like I am a God, in my way. Like I am a God, I am a creator. I create the things in my mind and I make it happen. I bring it to fruition, you know. So I'm a little guy, you know what I'm saying? Not a big, I'm a little guy, you know what I mean? So in my essence, so I don't know who put that in me. I don't know what it is. All I know is that I never doubted myself. Do I have doubts? Yes, but I never doubted myself in regards to, hey, even though I don't have all the answers, even though I don't have everything in line, so to say, I know if I start, all that is going to come with the process, So, and I give you a prime example. When I moved to Atlanta, I just got out of divorce. My oldest son was in California at the time, and after I got a divorce, I moved here. I didn't have no money. I was living with my sister, and I had about $50. I started selling cars. I got a job selling cars, and 7 days a week we talk about selling cars. I did everything I do to hustle and bustle. It wasn't even 3 months I was here in Georgia where for whatever reason my son's mother couldn't handle taking care of him. So I told her, only thing I can do is, I didn't have no money at the time, is for you to send him here with me. You know what I'm saying? And so I hustled and bustled, did everything I can do, got my son with me. He stayed with me for about 3 years at that time. And all I can remember me saying is that, you know what, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And thank God I didn't have to do anything illegal to make things happen, but I use my ingenuity. I use my mind and thinking outside the box. So it's so easy for us to say, hey man, drugs is the only thing I got. Drugs ain't the only thing you got. You know what I'm saying? There's opportunities if you learn and teach yourself how to do certain things, you know what I mean? But you got to start somewhere. And I think a lot of us that comes up or grow up in hardship feel like their surroundings, they have to be embedded in that to survive or be successful. I didn't have to do any of that. Did I dabble here and there? I did. I'm not perfect, you know what I'm saying? But did I indulge? No, I didn't, because I had a goal to get out. Like that wasn't the end game. Like that wasn't the all in be all, for what I was trying to accomplish in life. So for me, I'll tell anybody, man, anything that you choose to do, you have to have it in your mind, and you have to write it down. It's a book of your life. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of your life, and any book that you have has written instructions on how to accomplish whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Whether you reading the Quran, the Bible, whether you writing scripts of your own life, whether you reading books to learn how to do a certain thing, these are scriptures for you to accomplish a thing. And once you figure out that thing that you want to accomplish, you have to just be diligent and persistent to achieve that. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. I give you an analogy. If you throw a pebble at a wall and you throw it at the same spot all every day or however long you keep doing it, eventually you'll start chipping away at the foundation of that wall, right? Just by throwing a pebble. As long as you're hitting that same spot, you keep hitting that same spot, you're going to eventually chip away just with a pebble, And
Shawshank Redemption.
right. So I just say that, keep chipping away, what I'm saying, at that wall, keep moving forward, because you're going to eventually break through, you know what I mean? And it's easier said than done. Yeah, believe me, I'm not perfect. I had doubts. There's moments where I wanted to give up. And even at that very moment is when I broke through. Those very moments of when you about to give up, that's when the breakthrough starts to happen. That's when I realized, and I started seeing those reoccurrence, at the moment of failure, at the moment of about to give up is when I broke through. So don't give up. It's like at the moment of when you feel like you're about to break up, that's when you're about to make that achievement. That's when things are about to happen. Just don't give up. That's how I look at it. And so when I come to those moments in life, and I know that, okay, especially when I feel like when they say the devil is on my back and all these things are starting to happen bad and stuff like that, and things are going wrong, that's when I know I'm about to make a breakthrough. That's when I know I'm about to break through.
Man, and when you were talking about, we are, little g, little gods. I mean, you can go to scripture and find that, we are made in his image in Genesis 1:26. Right. You can go to John 10:34. Ye are gods. People love when the Hebrew Israelites are on the street. Ye are gods, and love to push that message because it makes them feel good. But you also, if you're gonna claim that, you gotta try to live that. And I say try because you'll never. None of us will be perfect.
Right,
we're so flawed as people, especially as men. Globally, no matter what you look like. Oh man, men got so many flaws. Because we all know what we battling with, saying, oh, I want to do that so bad, whether I want her so bad or I want to punch dude so bad with that uppercut.
Right.
But I'll say this for your life, because I remember talking to you when you were at the car dealership, and you were like, man, there's this woman that I like, but she owns her own business and I just watch her from afar. And I, me, I'm gonna say, hey, it's only a yes or a no. And then next time I talk to you, you got yourself a new lady. Now, how that ended and whatnot, it is what it is. But I believe that was a long-term relationship.
It definitely was. It definitely was.
I don't want to, I don't want to get, put too much game out there for him.
but go ahead.
Yeah, but I just say that whatever you put your eyes to, whatever you put your mind to, and your body and your time, you get, and you've proven it over and over again. So kudos to you.
Yes, sir. And that's what I tell anybody, man. I don't. It's a power that we all have, man. We all have this gift. You know what I'm saying? We have to develop it. You have to develop it. And when the Bible says, "Know thyself," I grew up in church. I went to church. God rest her soul. My mother that adopted me, she brought us up in church. So when I say I went to church, we went to church every day. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing. So I don't even go to church today because of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I grew up in church. I know what I know about the Bible and the scripture and so on and so forth. But I also have experience in reading other theologies of different religions and so on and so forth. So I take heed to that because these are accounts in life, but we all have this ability and we have to tap in, especially as a people, as a community, we have to stop, I believe, pointing the finger. We know that the powers that be are against us and they're against us for a reason. We are the light bearers. You know what I'm saying? We are the cause and the effect. You know what I'm saying? And people have to realize who the enemy is. The enemy is not the people that oppress us. The enemy is us. You know what I'm saying? We have to know thyself, and that's who we don't know. Before we can break out of our shackles and all this mental shackles and all that, we got to figure out and find out who we are. You know what I'm saying? And to accomplish and conquer the things that are against us. We feel like there's an external enemy. Yeah, the external enemy is within us.
Definitely.
And it's within us because the faith comes in. If you don't like your job that you're currently at, you there. Do the best that you can. Learn the systems of that job and take it and use it for your own advantages. And that's what I have been able to do throughout the years of working for the man or working for that woman or so on and so forth. I had job. I didn't always work for myself. However, I always was a hustler to move in that direction to work for myself. So I took whatever processes of and learned whatever systems in the companies that I worked for and used it for my advantages to be put in the position that I am in now. So, and go ahead.
No, it's I love this talk, and people say, man, why are they talking business? They talking faith, because we have so much more in common, people. That I remember someone said, well, you don't understand because I'm a Muslim and this and this. I said, hey, brother, I don't think you're talking to. I've even read the Hadith, whatnot. My thing when reading the Quran, I said, hold on, is this the Old Testament? I said, hold on. I said, what am I? Right. I said, hold on. Oh, wait. Then you go to the Jewish scriptures and say, hold on. We are so much more alike and we have differences. But again, all God's people, you have just stepped out on faith and it's obvious. And you are having success that, once you have this book, I'm just telling you right now, you're going to have to find somebody to kind of maybe run the business because the speaking engagements is next. People need to hear you worldwide, right?
Right.
With the success that you're having and the best is yet to come, what is a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future?
Okay, so my community give back is for young Blacks, in particular men, but I take the ladies as well that want to learn this industry. I see everywhere I go, there's not many of us in the industry that I'm in. I'm in the signage industry. It's a very, very lucrative industry. It's not taught in anybody's school. You can go to design school to learn like how to design different, graphics and stuff and so forth, but the signage, how to manufacture, make signs or install vinyl on your vehicle or your company wall and so on and so forth. Everything that you see around us has some type of physical advertising. Once you walk out that door, there's people that install and manufacture and make these things, and people have never sat down and asked like, wow, who does this? How can I get into it? You know what I'm saying? Especially us, and so when people see me doing the things that I do, I'm probably like the only one when I walk around and I do these things that do this, that looks like me. There's people that looks like me here in Atlanta that does it, but there's not many. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to like my son's high school. I'm on his the teacher's board, and I'm setting up something where I can teach a course in the school for people to learn this. Mostly everybody that I hire looks like me, that's learning the field and so on and so forth. I have white, Hispanic people that work for me as well, but I give everybody a chance or whatever. But my focus is on teaching my people how to learn the ins and outs of this industry, and I want to see more of us in it. When I go to these training, the 3M training events and the Avery, the Hexas training events, all I see is Asian, whites, everybody else but us. and there's opportunity. There's definitely a lot of growth in this industry, and I just want us to have a piece of it. So these are things I'm doing in the community to help out. Like I said, everybody from my accountant is black. I'm pro black, but I work with everybody. Like I said, I'm not so closed minded to where I can't work for everybody. But there's no harm in promoting and wanting to see your community and your people be successful. Every culture practice this, but us. We don't practice group economics. I read a lot of books about and listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. He's my mentor. He don't know me, but he's my mentor. Dr. Claude Anderson, he talks about group economics and working together and achieving the things that we want to achieve as a collective. Every other culture and community does this, but us. And that's what I preach and I practice.
Yeah, and it takes, especially in this country, but I even tell people the world, it takes everybody, because there are just culturally some things that some people do better than others, and you need a good balance. But those who get it, those are woke, who whatever that means, understand that they want black business to get hire black people. So even the racists say, so y'all can stop complaining. Right. And so that y'all won't come rob us like in the Karen movie, case in the place.
Right.
So people who get it, there's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I feel it. But I also know that even for myself, there's certain people who can do things better culturally, because in their countries, that's like a sin if you don't get that right. And so it's a different type of pressure. And that's the type of pressure I need when somebody's watching my money or this and that. But you can have, there's plenty of black everything out there. So if y'all have a problem finding somebody and you want to find them, holler at me. But there is also a loyalty factor when I have, Caucasians on our team, and they were with me when I had jelly beans in my pocket. And now the beanstalk is grown. You think I'm gonna get rid of you? I'm not gonna.
That's facts. Yeah. That's facts. I'm the same way. I'm like, it's funny that you say that, because I started this business thinking I'm just gonna work with all the black companies out here, right? I started this business, and you know what? 99.9% of my business comes from the Caucasians. Not here in Georgia, in Atlanta, where it's predominantly in certain areas black, especially Atlanta, and it's a lot of successful black people, but 99.9% of my business come from others, and I don't know what that is. I don't know why it is. It's not like I don't promote less to the other, versus the other, but that's how it's been for me in this industry for whatever reason. Black people open up businesses every day, but I don't get their business.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Business is business at the end of the day. And as long as you can pay the staff, and this is very important, entrepreneurs, you have to be able to pay yourself. I know people say, hey, I haven't taken money out of this business when they're on Shark Tank. Trust me, they're in a pitch competition. You got to say what you got to say that sounds good for VC. But you got to be able to pay yourself, because you got to eat. Now, I don't want to give them too much game. And I'm gonna talk to you, the best conversation, y'all. I'm sorry, it's always off air, but I want to know, tell the people where they can find you, and at what size of a budget, if they want you to travel, do they need to be at? Because I don't want them to hit you saying, hey, I got $500. I need you over here in Kentucky or in Djibouti. Give them just a price range. I don't want to price anyone out, but just let them know what you're working with, so they don't waste your time or their time.
Okay. So this is a difficult answer. It's not difficult per se as far as giving you a price range. I can give you any price range, but how I price things and how things are normally priced in this industry. Anything we do is by square footage. Of course, it's your experience and where you have to travel. So let's say you have an office building that you're about to open up, and you have so much square footage that you want to get wrapped or have certain different signs on that. So I would need all that information where we come down to do a survey. Depending on where you're at, a survey can run you anywhere from 300 to a couple of $1,000s, depending on how the large the scope of just doing the survey. That's me coming to your location, mapping out and measuring everything that possibly you want to get done in your business or whatever you're trying to get done. Now, if you have fleet vehicles or so on and so forth, also that would be done by square footage of the material that's going to be placed on your vehicle. So you have a 3-tier. So you have a partial, you have full wrap, and just maybe some decals. All right. If you're going to get a full wrap, that's the entire vehicle being wrapped. That could run you anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. It all depends on how many vehicles and what's being applied and the materials that's being applied on your vehicle. All materials not created equal. So these are the determining factors that would decide the price points. Now, if you want to book me to travel to your location, you're not just booking me, you're booking a team, you're booking a company. So I have people that work for me that I send out to travel to certain locations. Of course, it would be worth it if you're doing a big project, and let's say that project is worth $30,000 or more, depending on the budget of what you're trying to accomplish, then those things will all be factored in. Travel costs built in with the material costs and built in with the installation costs of said project. And then you factor in the of course the skill sets. That's all factored in of what's been accomplished. So the price range varies. You know, I've done government contracts where I had, you know, a $200,000 contract, you know, to accomplish whatever I needed to accomplish. Now, is $200,000 all in my pocket? No, that's material cost. That's built out to certain things that need to be done for that particular project and paying my people and so on and so forth. So you have to realize when you're talking to someone like me that your thought process on how much something should cost is not going to register with the person that's actually doing the work, because you never did the work. And a lot of people come and say, well, you know, this person is doing it for this. Okay, you have to ask many questions. What material is that person using? Does the person have any warranties for what, you know, he's done if something fails? Okay. These are the factors that clients normally don't factor in when they trying to compare and contrast pricing to another company. And then you have to gauge that experience of that individual. You know, why is he charging you a cheaper price and you're charging 2 times that much? You know, I tell people all the time, you can't put a price on the art. So if I have to, this is what I charge.
Yeah. Hey, man, and with that, tell them where to go to find you.
All right. You can find me all over Google. I'm literally all over the internet. D&E Raps. You can hit me at D-E-Raps, WRAPS.business.com. Instagram, D&E Raps LLC. You can find me on all the social medias, even Pinterest. I'm not on the newest ones like the TikTok and all that, but the main ones, you can find me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm everywhere, literally. You can Google my name and I will pop up. So there's no way that you can't find me. I'm there. I have a social footprint, and Google is on the top of the list. Just type me in there. I'm there.
You guys have gotten the game. If you do nothing else, share this with someone. It will change their life. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed bias socioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. Diversifiedgame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration and joy by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.